Straw Hut Media.
Do you have any chapstick?
Do I have any chapstick?
Yeah.
No, I got dressed 2 minutes ago.
My lips always feel so dry. Also, why is there like a banana peel on the floor?
Well, I just ate a half one.
I know.
I just did a shot of espresso and ate a banana because I just took a nap and I'm exhausted from work.
But high key, it's like brown already. It was yellow when you opened it.
Listen, those are the bananas.
That's the evil of all bananas. Having a kid, I swear to God, having a kid will make you never want to eat bananas ever again.
Confess your mess. Welcome back, everyone. We are so excited for today's guest. If you don't know what this podcast is a podcast about secrets. So, you know, those fantasies, those secrets that you've never told anyone, or if you only told like your close friend, you can tell us.
And this is actually one of our close friends, and she's so comfortable with us that she's so excited to jump on our pod. She's already getting in on the banana conversation.
She actually is in my wedding party. I'm not wearing my wedding ring, by the way.
Wait, what?
My engagement ring. You call it? When do you call it wedding? Is it? So is yours a wedding ring and mine is an engagement ring?
Yeah.
So that means that, so with that logic, then I do get another band.
You don't get another one. I get another band. Going. No.
Okay. So, but today's guest is a dear friend of mine who I've known since 2016. And
is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, it feels longer.
First of all, it is 2022 now. That's a long time.
You're right.
We're in 2022. We're old now. But we met hosting at Clevver together back when we were babies. And that feels like such a long time ago. But she is a TV host. She's a presenter. She is actually, which I want to find out more about later in the pod, she's the new host on Indeed.com. You can also find her on Clevver Style. And she has her 6-year-old who just celebrated his birthday, Harrison. First of all, where we at? We'll get to that in a second.
His first or second birthday, I think.
We have to say who she is
first. So she's a real mom and also a plant mom. She's surrounded by hundreds of plants right now.
Hundreds of plants, and she can give you tons of plant advice. And don't you have an Instagram account for your plant?
Don't tell her. Don't answer it. Don't answer it.
Anyway, Sinead de Vries.
Welcome to the pod.
Hey guys. I thought our
you?
banana talk was actually just us talking. Do you know that?
Oh,
no,
we do that. That's like our casual, like Ted Lasso. We're obsessed with Ted Lasso right now.
Obsessed.
And you know, he kind of does like that disarming approach, and he just has like a conversation with you. That's kind of how we are.
Are we trying to disarm somebody who's in your wedding party who've known for this many years?
Okay, but this podcast can be intimidating because people are like exposing their deep, darkest secrets. Sometimes just silly, funny secrets. But also, we just want to make sure people feel comfortable.
So here's what we're going to do, Sinead. Before we get into the secrets that have been confessed to us by our listeners, we want to test you. This is not your big secret. This is not your big reveal. We're going to do that later on. But for now, just so we know that we can trust you with our listeners, we want to know like a little mini secret, something about you that maybe is a vice, maybe it's a food, maybe it's a habit, something you know is not good for you or for your life, but you just can't find a way to say no to it. We want to know what is your mess, but yes.
All right. Well, I mean, I could start by saying there's alcohol in this cup.
Oh.
I was like, I'll put it in a rose gold cup, so it's not as, it could be anything. It could be water. It could be juice. Who knows?
Yes.
But it's definitely rosé. Definitely rosé. Yeah, I mean, I think I blame it on the pandemic. I have definitely become more of a day drinker than just after work drinker. I love a drink in the middle of the day. It's like become a new thing. I also like decided to grow up in the last year. So like I drink a lot of wine. So I'm just like drinking wine during the day doesn't work. So you got to start with something else. So it's either like a rosé or maybe it's like a cider, but usually it's like a white wine. And sometimes I can like crush through wine from like 2 p.m. to like 9 p.m., like I don't even know, man. I just feel like the pandemic turned us into more of ourselves and I'm here for it.
I agree. We actually had this conversation. Was it last night? I had a bottle of red, and so these wine glasses we have could probably legitimately fit a bottle in one glass. So we're just having one glass of wine, but it's a bottle of wine. So I try to break it up.
When he says we, he means
it is me. I'm the only one who drinks red in this house. Yes. So last night I have this Cabernet that's aged in.
It's Robert Mondavi. You've seen the commercials.
It's not
I love that one.
Yeah, it's not super expensive, but it's like a $15 to $20 bottle, and
it's a really good a really good Cabernet. I love it.
And it's aged in bourbon barrels. So I'm like, wow, I've got bourbon and wine in my glass right now. This is wild. And I had one glass, which was half a bottle.
You know, and it's a conversation that we're all having, especially if you're watching in Just Like That, because spoiler alert, Miranda has a drinking problem in this initial season.
Relatable.
And we're learning a lot about Miranda in Just Like That.
Miranda has a lot of problems. If you haven't watched, go watch on HBO Max. But yeah, she talks about that.
She does. Also, if you know that goat meme that's screaming, that's also relevant from In Just Like That recently, and you'll know why.
And Just Like That is sort of like the show that I can't not watch. Every week I'm like, well, I've gotten this far. I better keep going. And I want to support Carrie Bradshaw.
Yes, and it gives me the urge with everything. Like I feel like, and Sinead, let me know if you're like this. I feel like now when I walk out of a room or I'm ending the conversation, I'm like, and Just Like That. And it's like, why am I saying that? Like, why?
Emile, do you remember when he used to get like trapped in rooms with people and you could never like know how to leave a conversation? It was the funniest thing in the world. He would come in like heart pounding and he'd always be like, I got trapped in the room again. Because Emile used to have a really hard time ending conversations. So that does not surprise me at all that you're like, now when I'm leaving a room, I'm like,
wait, why did I not know this about you?
Okay, so she's spilling my tea. So confession, this is one of the first, this isn't, well actually this is kind of, okay, so the theme of this week's, wow, I cannot talk today, Sinead. So the theme of this week, the secrets are cringeworthy secrets. Every week we try to have a theme. This week is cringeworthy secrets, and this is kind of a cringeworthy secret because if you watch Ted Lasso, because we just watched we're in the middle of binging season 2, and the character Nathan, he's like very timid and
so
shy
good though.
and like just so he doesn't have the confidence that he should, but he's so good at what he does. And that's kind of how I was back in the day at Clevver. I was very much unsure of myself. I was like the newer kid on the block, and then we were all freelancers, so we were there like 2 to 5 days a week. It varied. And then there were the full-timers, and the full-timers had their own office and their desk and everything. And so you had the full-timers. It was like this, not a battle, but definitely a power ranking situation. Well,
you guys were the cooler ones. They just had been there longer.
I mean,
I'm just going to say it.
I mean, I guess but we didn't feel cool at the time. We felt like we were excluded from everything. And I don't know, it was a lot. Back in the day,
the hierarchy was intense. Yes. Like there was a serious hierarchy, but we were like best friends and we had like a different type of vibe, but Emile's right. Like we definitely were almost like it was like clear secondary priority, you know?
So and the thing is like our freelance office, like first of all, we didn't have a freelance office for the first couple of years. We were in a makeup room, which wasn't a makeup room. It was literally like computer desk on a wall, and then they put makeup mirrors in there and it was freezing. So that was our space with like 5 to 6 people in there at one time, plus makeup artists. It was crazy.
Is that when Brian was doing your makeup?
Yes,
he was so
Brian.
Talented.
But anyway, to get to the point, with the full-timers, I would go in their office, and I'm talking about like the managing news editor or the full-time host or whatever. I would go in there and I would just, because you know how you do your network, you'd be like, hey, how are you? What's going on? What's new? But it would turn into me not knowing how to leave, and like they would have a conversation. It would just keep going and going and going. And then I would like stand in the middle of the doorway, and people would pass by, and like Sinead would pass by, or Drew would pass by, or Jackie would pass by, and I would give them a glance, and they were like, oh God, he's trapped again, not knowing how to get out.
There were multiple times when I would see Emile like, he's in like this halfway position between like where he entered the room and now the door. And you can tell he's like in his head trying to figure out how the hell do I get out of this room without being awkward or without being rude. So he would do these weird things where he would be like, yeah, okay. And then he would do like the slowest, most weirdest walk, and we would die laughing. But I just happened to have seen it, I think, more than any of our friends did, because I used to like walk down the hallway and I'd always see him in there. And like he said, we'd make eye contact and I'd look at him and I'd be like, oh God, it's happening again.
Oh my God. It really is. It really is Nathan and Ted Lasso. When he walks by your office a couple times, it's the opposite of it. When he's trying to get her to talk to him. Yeah. Remember that episode we just watched? Yeah. When he wants the publicist table or whatever to talk. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know how to do it. And the thing is, you know, I was just very insecure, and also like I didn't want to come off as rude. And then also we had a lot of free time as freelancers, so we would walk the hallways a lot, just walking around trying to find people to talk to and do things. And yeah. So that's a cringeworthy secret.
Shall we get into it?
Yes. So our first one is anonymous male, South Carolina. They said, thought I sent a dick pic to my boyfriend. Turns out I sent it to my mom. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I'll never not cringe.
Oof.
Ooh, I can relate to this one.
Oh.
Should I tell
It's
my
horrifying.
story?
Wait, what story? You sent a dick pic to your mom?
No.
What?
Well, I thought I almost sent something to your mom once.
Oh, you told that story in this podcast already.
Oh, I did.
You told that with Rob Anderson.
I can't tell these. Oh, are you going to keep track of all the things you were going to do a podcast?
Oh, yeah, because people don't want to hear repeated stories. We've heard that story.
Sinead, how would you react? Should I be here right now? Good God. Is this cringeworthy?
Yeah, I think that's cringeworthy. I think anytime you send unsolicited pictures of your genitalia to the person who birthed you, it's cringeworthy. Absolutely. Unless like you're like if your mom walks in on you, that's one thing. Sending a picture is a little bit different, you know?
So AJ knows my answer to this as far as do I take dirty pictures, because you've received quite a few over the years.
Thousands.
And AJ, you don't really take you've taken a few for me.
Well, I'm also 10 years older than you, and my body naked doesn't look the same as yours anymore. So.
But we're not talking about a body. We're just talking about a dick pic.
Oh no, but I know, but there's still things involved with that. You still got like lower abdomen, thighs. I mean, mine doesn't look like yours. You don't just send me like just a dick pic.
Well,
you send me like the region, and the whole region looks great.
I mean, sometimes you're just highlighting. Anyway, Sinead, what are your thoughts on nude photos? Are you somebody who, and you don't have to tell if you don't want to, but are you somebody who has taken these before for your partner, or is it something where you're like, ooh? And then what are your thoughts on dick pics in general? Because I know with guys, especially gay guys, I think have a different opinion of dick pics versus girls.
Don't make an assumption.
I don't know. From the girls that I've talked to about this, they don't like dick pics. Go ahead.
Well, who said I did?
Oh, you like dick pics?
No.
Oh, really?
No, I think it's tacky.
Do we need to talk about this first? Most importantly, do we need to talk about this?
Do you like them? Like if a guy, okay, so you're very much in a relationship, but like would it turn you on if like some guy just sent you like a dick pic?
No. I don't think that that's like something that, I mean, it personally doesn't get me like all hot and bothered.
Mm-hmm.
If I was in the mood to do anything like that and I'm not with my partner, I'd much rather just get on FaceTime rather than be sending pictures back and forth. Yeah. Because one, that's not as intimate. And I think maybe just like mindset now too, after you are in a relationship with someone during a pandemic, you're literally like, if we didn't break up or get divorced or kill each other, we're probably in this for life now, right? Like we survived this thing. So you become very close and intimate. And I almost feel like now sending pictures would not have like the same sort of effect. I would much rather just get on FaceTime, if that makes sense. Well, I mean, I'm okay with like boobs, but like a dick pic or even like a vagina pic, I don't really get it.
I don't know if I can reference this because I've talked about it on the pod before, so that means it's 86 and I'm never allowed to bring it up again.
But one time, one
time I had an ex who got a dick pic from somebody he was cheating on me with, and that was, I think, kind of early in my dating career, and I think I had a really like not good experience with that, so I think I might be a little bit skewed because of that. But also, here's where my mind goes. If you're sending me like these pics, how do I know you took that for me? How do I know you haven't sent that to 20 other people? How do I know that's not a 5-year-old picture that you happen to have good lighting that day or whatever it may be? Like, I'm with Sinead. I want to know that whatever's going on is going on live in real time for me and only me. I don't want a picture.
Got it. So on our episode with Terrell Grice, we talked about some FaceTime dirty stuff that we did.
How do you remember what we talked about when?
And I will tell you how I remember before you guys think I'm a raging asshole and I'm being a dick to my fiance.
A little bit.
So I listened to every single episode multiple times. And also recently we had a best of episode, and that story that AJ was about to tell, he just like retold in the best of episode because it was from Rob Anderson's episode. So if people just listened to 2 episodes ago, I didn't want them to hear the same story again for the 3rd time.
Why are you really in your head right now, Emile?
Well, really? I feel some energy.
Or if
from
you're
this
joining
side.
us now for the very first time because Sinead posted about us on her Instagram story and you really love her so much you want to go listen to this podcast, you could have heard the story for the very first time.
Or how about this? Because we want people to listen to multiple episodes, I can reference an older episode so they don't just listen to Sinead's episode and then they can say, oh, I want to go listen to that story in Rob Anderson's episode.
So you're sassy today.
Sometimes. All right. So
you need a nap.
maybe let's take a reset, take a quick break, and then we come back, we'll be in love again.
Probably not.
Yay.
Put your ring on, little bitch.
I can't. I literally am. I'm corded up. I cannot go get my ring right now.
I like your sweater, Emile. It's really
Thank
cute.
you so much. Also, I want to point out we are back from commercial break. And if you want to see my ring, if you go to our YouTube, you can see the ring in other episodes of the Confess Your Mess podcast. So that's another reason to go to a previous episode. Look at that.
Or you can just watch the proposal video that we made that's up on YouTube as well. That's really awesome. That has a whole lot of views.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Look at you. See how you joined in on that? Oh, we're back in love, everyone.
We never fall out of love.
We're not getting divorced before we get married.
I just gotta say, I bought the damn ring. I know where it's showcased.
The ring. Sinead. Honestly, Sinead has known us in our relationship obviously since 2016. But like, there's very few friends in my life who like actually know us and our dynamic.
Yeah, and also had the time of my life with you when we were in Mexico, and watching you and Emile get on karaoke late night. I was like, oh, girl can turn up.
Wait, we did karaoke?
God.
Yes.
Yeah, when
Sinead all night one night.
In the living room.
Remember? And you did. You're like, I love you, Bobby.
I did.
And I remember the moment I fell in love. It was that night actually during karaoke, and Sinead I feel like she had one, but for some reason maybe two, like really thick braids. And I just remember thinking, like, I was like, girl, that's a look. I've not seen that from you, and I'm obsessed with you. And that was about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
5 or 6 years ago? 5 years ago, maybe?
No, that was 2018.
All right. 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Listen.
Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. I guys, listen, I just want to say, that's just the way my brain works. Everybody who's on this podcast right now knows this. I just remember things in a certain way. And so I'm not type A when it comes to, AJ's type A when it comes to like events and planning things.
I just get corrected all day long.
I'm type A when it comes to things like that. And he's like, oh, it was 20, like, or like 5 or 6. I'm like, no, it's actually 2018. So it couldn't have been 5 or 6 years ago.
I'm not like that. I'm like, oh, it was either 5 or 12 years ago. I'm not really sure.
But it's also one of my
I have
strengths.
an incredible memory though. And Nils and I fight a lot because he says, you know, arguing with you would be a lot easier if I could also remember the date and time that I said this and you said this, because I'll be like, no, that's not how you said it, and I will like verbatim say exactly what he said to me, and it drives him up the wall. Maybe it's an Aquarius thing.
No, that's exactly Emile. And the only reason I'm able to win a lot of arguments, because I'm really good at arguing, is because I'm a good debater, and I'm really good at making other points that get him so confused usually that he's like, what? No, huh?
Yeah, he throws me off, but like a lot of times I'm like, no, I remember exactly how I said how.
But then also we've realized lately I've caught him in a couple situations where he thought he knew something verbatim, and then we found out that he was wrong.
The next secret. No, he's right. I'm not right always, but I do have a photographic memory. So if I meet you once, I can tell you exactly where I met you, where I know you from. Might not remember your name, but okay.
I might not remember what year we were in Puerto Vallarta, but I remember the braid.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's
true.
That's more important, honestly.
Yes.
Wow, Sinead. Wow. Okay, let's go to anonymous female San Francisco. Ooh, San Francisco. By the way, we did a travel series for LGBTQ Nation and Queer Tea, and it was sponsored by Toyota, and we did this road trip. The series is out now, I believe.
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 of the videos are up so far. We've got 3 in total coming out.
Yeah.
But go check it out. I posted all over my Facebook and Twitter. They're really cute.
On the road
Toyota,
I believe.
yeah.
So definitely check that out. Shameless plug. Okay. Is it a shameless plug if it's on our own podcast?
Well, yes, it is shameless because there's no shame in it. So that's a good thing. And that's also okay.
Okay. So this is from anonymous female San Francisco. I accidentally swiped right on my philosophy professor freshman year of college, and it was a match. And it's the cringiest thing that's ever happened to me. Ever. Classes were so awkward because I'm low-key so not into him. So I think the thing that makes this cringe, AJ, and maybe Sinead,
swipe right is yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think what makes it cringe, because we've all been in long-term relationships for a while, but what I know from these dating apps is I think what happens is when you match, it lets the other person know that you matched with them. So if I saw AJ on a dating app and I swiped right on him to say I'm interested, and he already swiped right on me, then it would say, oh, this person is also interested in you. But if you just swipe right and they haven't seen your profile yet or whatever, you wouldn't know. So they matched, and then she still had to go to class and see this professor that she's now matched with. So that's what makes it cringe.
How do you deal with that, Sinead?
Ooh, if it were me and I accidentally swiped and I was not into it at all, I would literally just ignore them and not. I would just be like, nope, never happened. You know, like, no, I just pretend like it never happened. And I would just never, ever allow my brain to even acknowledge the awkwardness. I was just like, hey, what's up? Oh, yeah. Did you get my paper? Great. Thanks. Bye. And just like walk to my seat and go sit down. because that is way too awkward, especially if you're not into it. Now, if you're into it, that's like a very welcome surprise. You find your professor and you're like, what? And then you're like, let me see what happens. They're not going to know because maybe they just close out because they don't want to swipe on you because they're being very morally ethical and all that stuff. But if you do swipe right and they're into you, how exciting is that? Now there's like all this tension and classes are all of a sudden like hot. I like the
hours,
idea
about to be lit.
Listen.
Okay, so I can't tell the story because I've already told it apparently about the time that my professor tried to sleep with me and do crystal meth with me. So I won't tell that story. I've already done that one. I already told the story the one time about how you and I play Professor Gibson whenever you want to get it up in the A. So I can't tell that story now either. So I'll just sit here in silence and agree with Sinead.
You don't need to sit in silence. Just know that those are some amazing gems that you'll hear in previous episodes. No, here's the thing. I never found any of my professors hot. High school was different. I found like some high school teachers and counselors hot.
Oh, Marty Lucas in 7th or 8th grade. Ooh, my English teacher.
Wait, that was his name?
Yeah, his name was Martin, but he went by Marty, and he was also my football coach, which was a whole different level of hot because I was an awkward teenager in junior high in Salina, Ohio. And he and Coach Klosterman, I had two different coaches. They might have been the same year, but Marty Lucas was like this big sort of beefy, like Italian looking guy. And I thought he was so, so hot. And he sort of talked out of the corner of his mouth and it was kind of like sexy. Do you remember the show Silk Stockings?
No.
No, not Silk Stockings. What was the show? Picket Fences?
It sounds
familiar. Do you remember
familiar.
the show Picket Fences?
We're both young.
Look it up on your phone. Look up Picket Fences. I think that's what it was called. And there was an actor in there, and he was so, so sexy. And this teacher reminded me of him so much. And also, again, awkward, closeted gay kid, junior high. Yeah, that's it. Go look it up on IMDb. And that guy, he looked like him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. We'll put this up when we put the Instagram photo up so you can see what this guy looks like. He looked a lot like him. And those football coaches would wear those little, really, really tight, short shorts to practice. And that for me was just like, oh my God.
It did it for you?
Every time. I've tried to look him up over the years, just wondering where he is now and what he looks like, just out of curiosity.
I mean, make sure you try all variations. Martin.
No, can't find him anywhere.
Also, I love how, by not telling those other two stories, it led to a new story that we were able to hear for the first time. Okay. So
you are so sassy today.
Wait, really quick. I got to tell you, in my district, there was this high school. Well, our high school, one of our high school teachers, everyone was in love with him. But they opened a new high school my sophomore year. So he and a couple other teachers had to go help get it started. Anyways, so he goes to this new school. He was a PE teacher. He hooked up and started an entire affair with another sophomore. She was 16. Her ex-boyfriend found out, followed them one day after school to a hotel like in Naperville, Illinois, which is like, it's not a small town, but it's not like gigantic where people don't know how to like find things out. So went to the hotel, took pictures of the two cars in the parking lot, his ex-girlfriend's car and the PE teacher's car, took it back to school, went into the school one day, started screaming down the hallway like, oh, so-and-so, so-and-so. And everyone's like, what? And the principal was like, hey, come here, takes him into the office. He's like, what? I have proof. Guy gets arrested, went to jail. Girl had to leave school, leave the district. And this happened like, there's 3 high schools in our district. This high school is like 5 minutes from my house. We all knew those people because a bunch of them had to go to that new school once the boundaries changed. So it was like the biggest news. It's crazy.
Our producer Frank is always listening behind the scenes, and they're texting on the group thread on the computer right now and just said, this is so To Catch a Predator.
That's wild. Did you have any situations like that in your school? I mean, you're from a small town in Ohio.
No, I don't think so, but we did have the only scandalous things that went on actually in my school were kind of created by small-minded people. So where I come from, it's a very, very conservative small town, very Republican, very old school, very Catholic. And there were a couple of teachers over the course of my years. One was my phys ed teacher in junior high, and she was a lesbian. Mm-hmm. Her name was Barb Bell, like a barbell.
Well, I mean,
very on brand.
That name is iconic.
And apparently one of her ex-lovers or someone had been on the Oprah Winfrey show, like in the late 80s or early 90s or something. So that was kind of a big deal. And then, and this is so terrible, I can't believe I'm saying. And then there was a teacher named Mr. Long. was the gay guy. So Barb Bell was the lesbian, and Mr. Long was the gay teacher. And people just always spread rumors about them. And they never did a single thing with students. I mean, it was not like that at all. They were just happened to be queer teachers.
Oh, that makes me
and
sad.
People would drag them, and people would harass them, and they were awful to them. I did have one. I think I had one gay teacher that I knew of. Mr. Van Tilburg, he was head of like the choir and the music program, and he was the most incredibly talented, kind-hearted people. And I wasn't out or anything like that. And I don't know that he ever knew that I was gay when I was younger, when I was in like high school. But if he had a sense, maybe that's why he was so protective of me. So they were all actually really fantastic, wonderful teachers.
Oh, so there's no scandal there.
No, the scandal is that the people treated them, though, like the people in my community treated them like they were like these vile creatures, as opposed to just the kind teachers who were, molding their youth.
I was trying to find a scandal.
No.
So the scandal in my school, in high school, and it didn't happen, I found out until after high school. It was the year after I graduated, but it was one of the, what do you call it? Assistant principals. So I'm not going to give names, but I tried to find like the article a couple of months ago, actually, but it's like scrub from the internet, and you can go on Facebook, and I go and search like her name and my high school and the story, and I can see like where the article was, but if you click it, it's gone. Basically, we found out that she was hooking up with multiple members of the football team, like getting trained, like it was bad, like bad.
What?
She got fired. But the thing is, since I was out of high school, I was in college at that point, and then I didn't find out until years later that it happened. I missed the whole story. So I don't know if she went to jail or whatever, but she was in it with these football kids, and it's just a wild thing to think about that there's teachers out there who are doing that. They are really having some secrets.
Where
out
did
there.
I learn about
Think
training?
about like if you graduate college and you're going to do like a TA and you get your first job as a teacher, maybe you're 23, 24. Like it's not a huge stretch. I mean, you guys have a big gap. Nils and I are 13 years apart. So yeah, it's a little bit weird when it's a teenager, but when you're 23, your mindset is still so immature and you're with these people every day. I get why it's wrong, and I completely agree with the punishment that comes as a result of doing that and how dangerous that can be for teenagers especially, but I can understand where that might happen, because
she was in her 40s, by the way.
Well, to be fair, the story that I'm not allowed to retell about the Spanish teacher.
My God,
no, there's a follow up to it. And to Sinead's point, Emile. So stay quiet for a moment. He was a grad student, and he was my teacher. So he was probably 23, 24. And I was probably also 23 or 24 because I had taken a couple years off college, and this was like my senior year at Ohio State. So we might have actually been the same age. I mean, the crystal meth thing was maybe a step too far. Yeah. But the hand on the knee, I guess I could understand that one. I will say this though. Oh gosh, I just had a story to tell.
Oh well.
No, it was a really good one. It had to do with teachers. Oh, it was a really good one.
Well, ponder on that, and we're going to go to the next secret. Is that okay?
How did I forget? I was on a roll, and then all of a sudden it went away.
Oh, that's how life is. And just like that. And just like that.
Stop.
Okay. This is anonymous female Alaska. I farted.
I have my story.
Wow.
I have to tell it.
Wow.
Oh, are you ready for this one?
AJ, I swear to God, this better be the best. Like, I better jaw drop story.
It involves a nun.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when I was in college, this is my issue with Spanish classes. So I had to take Spanish 7 times throughout college to pass 4 of them for my degree for communications. I took 1 twice, 2 twice, 3 twice, and then passed the 4th one in 1 try because my instructor tried to give me crystal meth. So I got out of that. Well, when I was in college, at first at the University of Toledo, I had this instructor, and she was horrendous. She was so mean to me all day, every day. And I remember talking to my cousin Mary about how horrible she was. And Mary's like, God, it sounds so much like my sister from my Catholic school. She went to Notre Dame Academy in Toledo. It's like her name was Sister Mary Gonda or something. It was like her nun name. And she's like, it sounds so familiar. Then all of a sudden, one day she goes, oh my God, AJ, I just found out that Sister Mary Gonda was having an affair with a man while she was teaching at the Catholic high school, and she got excommunicated, kicked out of the church and out of the school, and she's now teaching Spanish at the University of Toledo.
Shut up.
It was the same teacher.
Okay, that was a jaw drop.
The nun was getting it in.
Sister Mary Gonda was like, I am going to leave the faith and leave what I have committed to for the dick.
And she still had hatred in her heart.
Oh my gosh. So the dick did not absolve that hatred.
It did not absolve it. But all of a sudden, that second half of that semester, I was like, I know some about you. I know who you are.
You should have gone on. You should have said, Sister Mary Gonda. Actually, I'm gonna think on what he should have said.
Yeah, let's take a break. And you're gonna come back with the secret about a fart?
Yes.
Fair enough. All right.
I didn't know.
We should communicate better.
It's like we host a podcast and we don't know how to come back.
We should work on this if we're gonna get married. Welcome back to Confess Your Mess. It's a good one. We've got Sinead. I never say your last name right because I always say De Vries. That's how I say it. But he pronounced it De Vries. How do we say it?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, because you're South African. So there is a way to pronounce it properly, and I'm from Ohio.
Well, my last name is Dutch. There's a lot of Dutch in South Africa because we used to be colonized, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of Dutch in my family as well, my dad's side especially, and the V in Dutch is pronounced like an F.
Huh.
So whenever you see a Dutch name that's always like Van der Meer or Van der Hoeven or something, it's actually like fun is how you would say it.
Van der Hoeven.
Van der Hoeven. With an F sound. De Vries.
With AJ, I can guarantee you as soon as you said that, he was literally thinking,
I know,
oh my God, I'm Dutch, German, English, Irish. Was that what you were going to say?
Well, it's German, Dutch, English, Irish in that order. But yes, I am a quarter Dutch. I know nothing about it though.
Well, now we know how to say the V.
And also, speaking of colonizers, colonizers are all over Ted Lasso. Full circle moment.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting how they're handling because Ted Lasso is these soccer players or these footballers they call them from around the world.
Also, we're very much behind. I know it came out in July, but
I know, but we love it so much. And they talk about colonization and those sorts of things in the show, but like in a really humorous way, but a heartfelt way. I just love the show.
I know.
I love
Ted Lasso. So good.
People think we're crazy right now.
Okay, let's get to the fart secret.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is anonymous female in Alaska. I farted, like loud farted in a job interview. Got the job ultimately, but for a second I thought about turning it down because of the embarrassment. It's never come up, thank God. Let me tell you something. There's been multiple situations where I farted. I don't need to go and give a specific story.
I will.
But what I will say is if AJ was in that job interview and he farted, he would not have gotten the job because his farts are brutal. They are brutal. And AJ farts so much all the time. And we literally have he makes this face and I'll have my headphones in at the gym and he'll look at me and he'll like make this like scrunch face. I'm like, oh no. And it will hit me like 5 seconds later. And I'm like, oh my God.
Well, okay, but it's worse now because we all have masks on. So once it gets behind the mask, it's just there and it's not going anywhere. And the craziest thing is the things that make me like gassy are healthy things. So whenever I'm going through a kick where I'm trying to eat a lot of grilled chicken or green vegetables,
Jesus, broccoli is the worst.
If I look at a piece of broccoli or cucumber or some spinach or kale, donezo every single time. If I drink a protein shake, done. And it's difficult, and they're not nice. They're so bad. And the funniest thing, not funny, but if you ask any single person who's ever dated me over the history of our time together, they'll probably say two things. I'm very I'm a nice guy and I'm loyal. But then they'll also say, but oh my God, he stinks sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then AJ will he'll try to make it sweet. And he's like, listen, if we ever broke up, you would miss that. And then also he claims he's always like, oh gosh, these farts, they remind me of my grandpa. And I'm like, what?
Okay, but sometimes, like, low-key, I'm like, based on, like, maybe what I ate, or I'm like, oh, that reminds me of my grandpa, or that one reminds me of my dad, who's not dead or anything. He just smells like his sometimes. But, yeah, my dads are really bad, too.
How no farts all the time. He always says I have a magical butt because he says my farts don't smell and my poop doesn't smell, my butt doesn't smell. And I'm always like, oh, thank God. Like, because like growing up, you just want that so bad, you know, like you want that so bad. And then to find out that like your farts are very mild are great. Personally, I think the only reason he thinks they don't smell is because one, Nils is also he farts, I swear to God, to such a level that I sometimes worry about his health, because I just don't understand how somebody can fart as much as he does. They always sound like he's taught. It's like a sound, like his butt is saying a word. It's always like like that. And I find farts to be extremely hilarious. So anytime he farts, I laugh my ass off, like every time. So constantly throughout the day, I am laughing all the time because he farts so much. And it's like that. Like that's how they sound. They're next level. They smell like absolute ass, like absolute asshole, like rotten eggs sometimes, or like sewage, or like trash. And sometimes he'll like crop dust them around the whole house. And I'm just like, if you fart, you know the rule. You got to stay in one place for at least 5 minutes.
You sound like Emile.
I relate to this
unbelievable.
so hard. I'm crying.
Okay,
I literally relate to this so
I gotta
hard.
spill your tea a little bit, because here's the thing about Emile. When Emile gets up in the morning, every single time he goes to the restroom, he'll go do his morning pee, and he farts the loudest farts you can ever imagine. And I try to drag him, and he always says, it's because my butthole's so tight. That's why it's so loud. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. And no joke, yesterday, we were sitting across on different ends of our sectional couch, and all of a sudden he goes like this. He goes, ooh, ooh, and he kind of leans forward, and he stands up and bends over and lets out a series of no less than 15 farts in a row. And I swear to God, I looked at him with such disgust. Our dog looked at him like his daddy was dying, and I said to him, you just your pants, didn't you? You literally just your pants in front of me. And I could, but they don't really smell. Like, we have a running joke in our relationship that I've never smelled his gas before. And I have a couple of times, but by and large, I try to stay away. I don't want to smell and ruin the fantasy. But oh my God, are they loud?
Funny, dude. That's really
Mine
funny.
are always silent, but they'll get you.
Yeah, my grandma always used to say a stinky fart is a healthy fart. So when you say that your farts smell really worse when you're eating healthy, I think that that's true. I think that people who eat like a certain type of like, I think it's got to be a vegetable. I think it's your green vegetables. If you go too hard on the dark green vegetables, then that's when the smells come out. But oh my God, you guys, that's so funny.
No joke. This last weekend, Emile had been sick, and I got like chicken noodle soup and a whole bunch of broth for him. And I was like, how can I make him a bunch of healthy things to take care of my boo? And I got stuff to make a big pot of greens,
which was so sweet. By
which
the way,
was so sweet, right?
Very
and
thoughtful of you.
And you add chicken broth to it and whatever. And I haven't made them yet because I know as soon as I start eating them, it's like game over for everyone involved. Game over. So I'm like, I gotta like time it just right so I don't have to be in public for a couple of days. So I might make them over the weekend.
It's amazing, you guys. That is so freaking funny. I need.
So don't feel bad about passing gas in an interview, whoever you were, because I mean, we're right there with you.
It definitely happens. Okay, now that I've regained my composure, we have one more secret. I'll let AJ read this one. One more secret, and then we're going to get to Sinead's secret and get into a little bit about what Sinead's up to in her life. But AJ, what's the last secret before Sinead's?
This secret is anonymous mail from Arizona. I was just in Phoenix. I loved it. Yeah, I spent a few days there working on a little project. Mm-hmm. I regifted an ugly ass sweater to my friend because I was like, this friend loves ugly sweaters. When they opened it, they were like, yo, I gave you the sweater a few Christmases ago. Long story short, I'm an idiot. This almost happened to us over Christmas.
That's awful.
Because we like to not regift necessarily. We like to gift things from our gifting closet.
Yes.
So we get things, as you do too, Sinead. We get a lot of things sent to us.
Hey, I don't do that.
But I mean, we have a whole closet full of things from gifting suites and things like that. Mm-hmm. And like some years we'll have friends who will come over for Christmas and we'll just wrap a bunch of stuff up and we're like, here's $1,000 worth of skincare products because we love you, right?
And sometimes it's like 1,000.
Yeah, but sometimes we give away Clarins, we give away like SK2, we give away like nice products because we have so much of them sometimes.
Yeah. We don't want to expire.
Do your family members ask like, did you pay for this? Because my sister does that all the time.
No, our family members are like, no, just please give us the free stuff. They don't care where it came from.
Our moms especially just want everything. But we had given our friend Cornelia, and she knows this. You know Cornelia. She was in Mexico with us.
She's in AJ's wedding party.
Yeah, she's in my wedding party. And so she was over for Christmas Eve this year. And because COVID was weird and we couldn't really do like the big family thing, so she was alone, we were alone. We're like, okay, 3 people, that's a good number, right? We'd all been tested. We were good. So she was coming over. So we start going through the gifting closet and trying to find things we can wrap up to give to her. And then he comes across this like electric wine bottle opener, talking about wine earlier on in the podcast. We've been opening a lot of wine throughout the pandemic. So we had this and he's like, wait, didn't we get this from a gift exchange? Wait, did she give this to us? Wait, where did we get this? And we were like going back and forth trying to figure out where we got this thing from and hoping to God it wasn't from her the year prior. So as she opened it on Christmas Eve, I was a little bit anxious. I was like, oh God, what if she gave this to us? And here's the moment. And she actually loved it. She's like, well, I'll use this. So it was all good. So somebody else, whoever did give it to us, if you're listening now, thank you. Saved us a gift.
I remember back when we were at Clevver, and it was only year one for me at Clevver that I did this, if you recall this, Sinead. I actually, and I don't think I've confessed this on the podcast before. I know AJ.
God forbid if you did, you better not share it again now.
AJ, let it go. Okay. So I was always going back to this is also cringe, so it's appropriate for the theme of this. I was a cringe child. Okay. And I was the kid who always wanted to be accepted and loved and just fit in. And so I went to this new middle school. It was in North Georgia with a whole bunch of white kids. And I was like a sprinkle of black. We were bussed up there. And I remember for Christmas, my mom sold Avon and I bought literally, not even kidding, anybody I was in the class with. And you had like,
I do know the story.
I had like 8 classes in the day. Every single person in my class had a gift and my mom paid for all of it, had a gift for every single person. And I bought it, I wrapped them. And I had this one girl at the time who had a crush. And I remember I got her like this sterling silver necklace with M on there. Her name was Monique. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to love this. She didn't care. She took it, but she did not care. And then I was like so hurt because nobody got me a gift except my best friend, Carmen. So I did not do it again for 8th grade. But when I went to high school, freshman year, brand new school, what did I do? The same thing for every single person in my classes. I got gifts from Avon. So some people got like Skin So Soft lotion. Some people got nicer gifts. It just depended on how close I was to you.
Wait, didn't we used to put that on to keep mosquitoes off or something?
The Skin So Soft oil. But I say all that to say, what did I do? The first year at Clevver, again, I want to be accepted. I'm just now realizing this pattern. I got everybody like a Starbucks gift card.
Yes. I remember that.
Yes, I do remember that.
And you were dead broke.
But
you were so nervous to do that.
Let's talk about how much was on the Starbucks gift card for everybody. It was $5.
$5.
And I was like, this is a lot of money.
It was a cup of coffee for everyone.
Like, oh my God, it's a lot of money for me.
I think we're both sort of like that. Do you remember the year that I was hosting? So I was so nervous. One of the first years I was invited to host the red carpet for the Golden Globes.
I do.
And it was the year that Dick Clark, I've worked for them for many years now, but at the time they'd never put me on like a major red carpet like that. And I was working with Jeannie Mai and gosh, who was I working with?
I think it was Jeannie Mai, Yvette Nicole Brown.
Yeah, Yvette.
Scott
Mantz, and somebody else.
Is this when you got the...
Yeah. And so I had just been given for Christmas a couple of weeks prior, because Globes are usually like first week of January, and I had gotten a Swell bottle from my friend Therese, also in my wedding party. And we like to hold on to friends. And she got me a Swell bottle, and they were first kind of coming out, and I was like, this is incredible. And then I was like, I'm gonna go get this for my co-host for the Golden Globes. So I go, and then I find out they're like 30 or 40 bucks a piece.
So expensive. Yeah. They're like 40 bucks, I think.
Yeah. So I bought like 5 or 6 of them.
Oh my God.
Of the larger ones. Size. Yeah. They're like 40 or 50 bucks. And I bought like 5 or 6 of them for all of my co-hosts and for my talent executive, who's a good friend of mine.
Chrissy.
For Chrissy. She'll be at the wedding. And I got gold ones for the Golden Globes. And I was so excited to give these out to everybody. And everybody was super kind and super gracious and whatever. But I remember thinking, this is like a $250 investment. And I was making like a good chunk of money off of this red carpet too. Like I could afford it. But also, I was like, wow, I'm dropping so much coin right now. I'm going to be broke after this. But I was going into a new situation. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, these people are all fancy. They're all celebrities. And I'm like the least famous person in this group, which is oftentimes the case when I'm working with these
You felt
carpets.
like an outsider.
Yeah. So I was like, I need to buy their affection because I'm a gay man. And that's how I try to get people to like me.
But I also think you guys must love giving gifts. So I think that you go to something that makes you feel comfortable because you feel so out of control in that situation. So you rely on something that you truly enjoy and that makes you feel good on the inside, because when you walk into a brand new room surrounded by people, or you're going to your first red carpet, like you're just like, oh, I want to be in control of some aspect of this. The only thing you can control is yourself. So you go to something that makes you know that about yourself. You know, you love getting gifts. You know you love giving gifts. You know you love the idea of sharing gifts with somebody you love. So that's what you went to. I think it's actually very, very sweet, you guys.
Wow, that was very
nice.
Listen.
That was very insightful.
She's saying
Sinead.
that because her birthday's coming up. She's like, you better get me a good gift.
That's
She's
right.
like, this is
That
a
is what I
milestone
mean.
birthday, so you better give me a great gift, Emile.
Wait, how close are your birthdays to each other? Are you turning 30?
Yeah, I'm turning 30.
Do you hear that pause?
Wait, you're almost 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is this your golden birthday?
No, my golden birthday, my birthday's on the 23rd.
Oh, wait, so milestone being 30.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking it could have been your golden, which would have been 30 on the 30th.
Yeah.
Because you had your golden birthday was last year.
Yeah.
30,
Yeah.
31
for
and
22,
31st.
for 22, yeah.
Wow. That was a really weird. That was a wild. Oh, I know about your birthday theme. Emile just told me what your birthday theme was. I won't say it on here and ruin it, but I'm super excited.
We're excited for
I
our
got
outfits.
costume ideas already.
By the way, we need to order those like ASAP because with shipping and stuff, we need to make sure but also I told AJ what your birthday theme was and why you're doing that theme. He was like, oh my gosh, I have so many ideas. She's going to have the best experience ever.
Yeah. I was literally, my wheels started turning like, I'm going to make sure that she feels like she really got to experience the things she never got to experience now. And I'm going to go all out. So get ready.
Oh, I'm so excited, guys. It's going to be fun.
Also, if you're listening to us, get ready for Sinead's secret, her confession, because it's coming up right after the break.
Sinéad de Vries, or as we like to say, so like Serena wow, never mind. Anyway, it is time, Sinead, for what we've all been waiting for.
Before she confesses, though, should we just plug a couple of her, because she's got a lot going on. I want to let our listeners know where they can, first of all, where can our listeners find you on social media?
Oh, yeah. I was like, It's just my first and last name at Sinead de Vries with the F sound on everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, all the usuals. And then, like Emile said, I have a Plantstagram. It's very small, but it's my way of just doing fun stuff that I don't care about as much, but I care about personally and not for like business reasons. It's really fun. And that's just Sinead Loves Plants on Instagram and on TikTok. And then I host my own true crime podcast. It's called Let Me Tell You a Story. We took a little bit of a break at the end of the year because I was traveling, but we just released our first episode back this week. About some killer siblings. It's a fun show. It's really fun. Nose and I laugh our asses off the whole time. And it's like more like not necessarily lighthearted true crime cases, but we like to make fun of the criminals because they deserve to be made fun of because they're idiots.
What's it like hosting a podcast with your partner?
I mean, we're doing it all on our own, and it's a lot when it's just the two of us, because there is no mediator sometimes, and sometimes I'll be like editing it, and I'll literally be like, "Can you look like you care, please?" And I'm like, "Can you just take that part out?" And like, it's just so funny sometimes, but he's a very good listener, and he's always really engaged because I write the stories and then I basically tell them to him. So he's always very engaged. But yeah, it can test your limits when it's something you don't really do that much. It's interesting, but I think it's brought us closer together for sure.
I love it.
Would you say the same, AJ?
Sure.
Wow.
I don't think I don't think you and I can get any closer.
That's true.
I mean, we're together all day, every day. We're 9.5 years in.
Wow.
I mean, you don't even wear your engagement ring anymore, and I'm not really that upset. So I mean, here we are.
It's just on the nightstand, okay? Okay. By the way, the nightstand is filthy right now. There's so much stuff on there. We didn't need to specify whose nightstand.
Your nightstand is a disaster, just like your restroom is also a disaster. And mine is spotless.
Wow.
Am I lying?
No. Okay, so Sinead, now the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for you to confess your mess.
Okay, so I was a terrible child. I was a very I was going to say a bad liar, but I wasn't a bad liar. I was actually really good at lying. I was just bad, liar, right? And so I found myself in situations like this a lot, but the worst thing I ever did to another human being happened when I was 7 years old. And so we had just moved to the States, and we were in Atlanta, and we lived in Atlanta for about a month.
That's where I'm from.
I know. So we lived in a hotel in Atlanta, and it was in 1999, and there was a record-breaking weird blizzard that like they hadn't seen in Atlanta for years, and it was like this whole thing. And we thought we were going to Hollywood, and then they dropped these two very African kids like in the middle of Atlanta where nothing was as expected. And we were just like, what the hell is happening? My parents were shell-shocked. We were shell-shocked. We were so homesick. It was awful. So we met this family in the hotel we were staying at. And like I said, we were at this hotel for like a month. So we met this family who just so happened to be from South Africa. And we became like very instantly close because you just gravitate towards people who get you and understand you. And they happened to have a child around the same age as me. And his name was Ramon, or like Ramon as an American would say, but we pronounced it Ramon. And he's like 6 or 7, and we caught up to a lot of shit, like every single day. And one day we were like perusing the halls of the hotel and just like opening random doors and going into random janitor closets and doing all this weird stuff. And we just happened to walk past like the fire extinguisher, and then the fire alarm next to the fire extinguisher.
No.
So, like the little small red box with the red lever. And me being like the type of child I was immediately like, I have to know what happens when you pull this red lever. Like, I need to know what happens. Is it like in the movies that I've seen? I need to know what happens immediately. And so I turned to this kid, and he just was like, he just did whatever I said and followed me around. And just like, I was just that kid growing up. I was the one who like planned all the tea parties and like I had like my own cheerleading squad in the neighborhood. Like I just did weird shit like that and was extremely bossy and domineering. I'm not proud of it. So he looks at me and I'm just like, so if you pull that red lever right there, the bottom of the square pops open and the best candy shoots out at me.
Oh my God.
And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like you pull this lever down, and we're talking like the little square box. You pull the lever down, pops open, you get the best candy.
Just
and
candy's going to fall out of the wall in a hallway at a hotel.
Yeah.
Got it.
But like, think about it. If you're 6 or 7 and someone says you pull this lever and the wall's going to all of a sudden start feeding you candy, it's like the worst thing ever. And it's like awful because I knew what I was doing too. I was a very smart child and very manipulative. And that's all it took. And the kid pulls this lever down. Now, I should mention that the hotel we were in was like thousands of people, okay? It was a huge hotel. My dad's law firm put him up in this hotel while they were trying to decide where we were supposed to like end up, which we would inevitably end up like in another part of the country. But while we were there, we were in a very big hotel, and it was kind of like an extended stay one. Like they had options for that. So there were like families and stuff like that. So as he pulls the fire alarm, like, I swear to God, to this day, it might be the loudest fire alarm I have ever heard in my life. And the people, when I say like hundreds of people start running down these hallways, running for their mother effing lives, okay? I still remember to this day, my mom and I talk about this. I still remember to this day seeing this man running with all of his luggage with the hotel bathrobe on into the snow, like outside. It's winter, okay? It's like
I forgot about the blizzard.
Oh, the blizzard.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like January or February because we arrived in Atlanta on the 19th of January in 99. So I had just turned 7. So this must have been like less than a week later. And I remember seeing this man with his little hotel slippers and his hotel robe running with all of his luggage. The fire brigades come. There are police everywhere. Every single person in that hotel evacuated except for my family and Ramon's family, because once he hit the alarm, we start screaming, running down the hallway, right? My mom opened the door because she knew. And she opened the door and just saw, and she said that all she remembered seeing was these two kids going, ah! like running towards her. So with our family, they're both looking at us. We don't evacuate. The hotel staff knew something was up with us. Like they knew we had done something. They just couldn't prove it. And they didn't have CCTV footage. And so we didn't get into any trouble with like the law, because obviously that is a crime, right? You can face jail time as an adult if you do that. You can find thousands of dollars of fines and things like that. But at the time, we were kids. The hotel staff didn't press it any further, but they must have known. We were the only ones that didn't evacuate. So they're both looking at us. And immediately, like without being prompted, I just start saying, there was nothing I could do. I was standing there. Ramon just goes up to the wall, pulls the lever.
You threw him under the bus?
Like so hard, you guys. And that no one even asked me. Like nobody even asked me what happened. I'm sure they would have just blamed it on both of us. But immediately, you guys, he got his bare ass beaten with a wooden spoon that night. And this is the image I will forever have in my mind. Did you say with the spoon?
Oh yeah, that's
with the spoon. He had a spoon in their hotel room on their thing with his name on it.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah,
and it had like slats in it. Yeah, it had like
paddles or wood spoons. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the spoon had slats in it, and that's how his parents would like spank him. Instead of like using a belt or their hand, they made him turn around and they would give him a whack on his ass. And so I remember him looking into my face with tears streaming down his face. He looked me dead in the eye, and I just said nothing. And he got his ass beat with this wooden spoon. And I saw the imprint of the spoon on his butt. And I literally didn't say a damn thing. And it made me feel so bad for years, because obviously we got our final destination, which was Chicago, and I left with my entire family. We left Atlanta. I always used to say like I left my secret in Atlanta and I left my secret on Ramon's ass cheek, and like never ever came clean. And I finally like told my mom, and she like, I remember I told her crying, and she said, how long have you been holding on to the secret? And I was like, so long. And she was like, that kid probably hates you. And I was like,
oh my
you're like,
God.
you're his villain origin story.
Totally.
I know. Yeah.
Wow.
So I always just felt so bad about that one, just because I never, ever, ever owned up to it and never got him off the hook. And I was so shocked that he never tried to say like, she's lying. He just took it. And
what if he's like literally like living somewhere, anywhere on the planet now, like plotting your doom? He's like, he's got like a wall of pictures of you with like red, like string attaching different things, like trying to plan your demise.
Even worse, like what if he lives like across the street?
What if it's Nils? Oh, wait, he was younger.
Imagine.
Never mind.
Yeah, no, he's younger.
He's like, surprise, 15 years in and your kid's 12.
Listen, but I love that you told your mom finally. And I think that kind of just explains what's so great about, confessing. You get it off your chest because clearly you still had an emotional attachment to that.
We're doing a service to people.
We are.
We're doing a service to the world with the show.
You know?
Yeah. And now I feel like maybe if I talk about it publicly, because it's still a secret, it's still a family secret. Now if I talk about it publicly, maybe it'll reach him somehow and he will understand. Ramon, I am so freaking sorry, okay? I am sorry. I really hope that you were able to convince your parents one day that that crazy bitch from Atlanta was lying and that you didn't deserve it. And if they didn't believe you, just show them this, please, because I am very sorry.
Oh, my freshman year of college, I lived in the tower, a dorm, and people would pull the fire alarm almost every other night in the middle of the night. We'd all have to exit. And I lived on the 11th floor. And one time I did not exit because I was hooking up with my friend's buddy, this guy. I was like maybe a sophomore, and I was literally getting a blowjob on a futon. And I was like, we're just going to stay in here and wait this one out. And never went outside because I wanted to make sure I got what I needed to get.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the alarm goes off every other night, like,
you didn't blame it on anybody, but you could have died.
I know, but I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, this is really pretty good.
What if it was a real fire alarm?
I know. I don't know.
Wait, sorry. And then we'll wrap this. Did the sprinklers go off too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my, Sinead, that is awful. So you have this man with his suitcases and his robe running in the wet sprinkler rain. Is that a thing? Sprinkler rain. And then he has to go outside in the blizzard.
Wow.
And it's probably freezing his nuts off, literally. You should feel... I'm just kidding.
Welcome to America.
She's like, wait, I just apologized.
I do remember that year. That was 1999. You said that was the year I graduated high school. Actually, you were 7. I was graduating high school, and it was a really, really, really snowy winter, even in Ohio.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sinead, you have been a absolute gem. I guess it will be an absolute fantastic guest. We really, really enjoyed everything. This has been a very...
I knew you were going to try to say a V sound with an F. I know you so well. I knew you were trying to figure that out.
A very, very great episode with Serena van der Woezen. But wasn't that the girl from Gossip Girl? Was that her name? Serena van der Woezen?
I've never seen it.
Blake Lively. That was her name, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how I know that random fact.
Well, yeah, that's a Dutch last name. So it'd be like van der Woezen.
Who was the and then we were going to rap. Who was the other guy, the main guy? What was his real name?
The main one, Dan Humphrey, the guy from You.
No, not him. The other one.
Penn
then
you have Penn Badgley, and then you have Ed Westwick. Right?
Ed Westwick. You know what I have to say about Ed Westwick? He was an a-hole to me. When we opened the restaurant, I have to get this off my chest really fast. We opened the sushi restaurant. We had an opening party, and he was one of the celebs there. And he was literally just throwing ice at people. He was so rude. Anyway,
he was a salon.
Some issues, but you know what? It's fine because, like, whatever. You know, what is he even doing these days? I don't actually know. I have no idea.
Okay, so every single episode, we like to end with, are you okay? Oh, your neck hurting?
My neck is killing me.
I can tell you're looking down.
Yeah, when I sit like this for like an hour and I've got a headset on and I'm bending over funny, like my neck just kills me.
Oh,
I said I'm old. I was graduating high school when she was 7. I'm older than you guys.
I know.
Come on.
Baby.
Get to it, Emile.
Okay. Every single episode, we like to end with your takeaway of the day. So what from this podcast did you take away?
Ooh, I like this. I always love that when you have that most embarrassing, most cringy moment, remember someone out there accidentally sent a dick pic to their mom, and someone else out there farted during a job interview. And you know what? We're all so cringy. It's fine. It's totally fine. Just own your cringe, because someone out there right now at this very moment is doing something 1,000 times more cringy than you can ever imagine. And that just makes me feel really good inside, you know?
So real. As put together as this guy looks right here to my left, my fiance, he sounded like he literally shit his pants yesterday in the living room in front of our dog and I.
There you go.
Everybody's going through something. You're not alone.
At least you didn't mention when I was bending over in the kitchen the other day and I literally had like a 15-second long fart and he looked over at me. He was like, what the actual is wrong with your stomach today? Good. And I was like, listen, it's life, because like you said, things happen. We're all cringy.
We are.
Sinead, you're not cringy. You're amazing. We love you.
Oh, I love you guys.
Can't wait to celebrate your birthday. It's right around the corner. I'm all in on the theme, just so you know. We're coming in hot. And I can't wait to celebrate with you down in Mexico whenever our wedding is. We haven't announced the date publicly, but you know when it is, and we can't wait to celebrate with you.
Yay! I love you guys.
Love you. Also, there's some great deals happening at the resort, so you can email the wedding planner if you haven't gotten your room yet. Do it ASAP. Okay. Love you, Sinead.
Love you.
Confess your mess.
AJ.
Emile.
You know what we like to do every single week?
Have fun. Reveal secrets.
Obviously.
Stare into each other's eyes with love and adoration.
And make out with the drool hanging between us like Not Another Teen Movie.
Ew, what?
No? Okay. No, we like to highlight the messenger of the week. So the messenger of the week for this week is A.M. Smith 319. What does it say?
A.M. Smith, give it up. Buckle up, y'all. Hilarious and unique, they call us.
Oh.
5 stars. Okay, A.M. Smith, thank you. We appreciate you.
If you want to be the messenger of the week, all you have to do is go to iTunes, rate, comment 5 stars. We would really appreciate it. Confess Your Mess is a Straw Hut Media podcast produced by Ryan Tillotson and Frank Driscoll. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share.
And if you have a secret and want to share, go to confessyourmess.us to submit. Your secret could end up in the show.
Ooh. Confess